The future of PMAP is not only in our hands. It will be formed by our shared vision and determination. Allow me to share with you my thoughts on two concepts. First, PMAP as a living organization. And second, PMAP as a spirit-driven organization. I like the concept of the living company or the living organization that was framed by Ari de Hughes, coordinator of planning of the Royal Dutch Shell Group. When the Royal Dutch Shell Group was about to observe its centennial year, the chairman of its Committee of Managing Directors commissioned a study on corporate longevity. This study covered companies as large as Shell, with at least over 100 billion in annual turnover sales, a similar scope of diversification, and companies that were older or as old as Shell, that had weathered some fundamental change and survived with their corporate identity intact. This study will help us dwell on some answers to these questions for reflections. Especially, it will allow us to ask, what will make PMAP a living organization? Only 40 corporations met the criteria. And what are the common characteristics of these companies that would explain why they were successful in the long term? These are some of those companies. Those are very familiar names. I'd like to focus particularly on Stora of Sweden. It was founded in 1288, so it's more than 720 years old. How many of you are alumni of the University of Santo Tomas? Please raise your hands proudly. You celebrated the 400th year of UST. This company is 300 years older than UST. You can see some of the highlights of its history. It thrived from the Middle Ages through the Reformation, through the Industrial Revolution, and 2 World Wars. And take note, wala po silang smartphone. Ito lang po ang ginagamit nila. They began in copper mining, went into forest exploitation, and several other industries, as you could see. They used all types of production technologies, from steam to internal combustion to electricity to microchip. And they have survived until today. That's Stora of Sweden. Another example, which is more familiar, is from our region. This is Sumitomo of Japan. Like Stora, it also has gone through several industries and businesses. And today, it has 15 main companies. What are the lessons from these lifelong companies? They have 3 important characteristics. First, sensitive to their environment. Second, cohesive with a strong sense of identity. And third, tolerant of activities on the margin, such as outliers, experiments, eccentricities within the boundaries of a cohesive firm, which kept stretching their understanding of possibilities. And fourth, conservative in financing. Naalala ko po yung PMAP nung ako ay direktor noong 1985 to 88. Marami pa sa inyong hindi pa pinapanganak noon. Kami po ang nagbabayad ng aming pagkain sa board meeting. Binabayaran din namin ang aming attendance sa general membership meeting. Lahat halos ng pinupunta namin na kahit kami na yung nagtatrabaho, may bayad po lahat yun. Yun ang dahilan kung paano tayo nakaipon ng malaking halaga na sa pag-uumpisa ng pagkapangulo ni President Noli Payos, nakabili po tayo ng bahay at lupa na ngayon ay headquarters na natin sa Addition Hills. May sarili po tayong tahanan. Dahil po, kagaya po nila, matipid po ang mga nakatatanda sa inyo. Okay. These are some of the characteristics of sensitivity to environment, which enable these companies to survive the ebbs and flows of wars, depression, technologies, and political change. They had their feelers out, their ears to the ground, and they were attuned to all that was going on around them. They had little data available, hindi po katulad ngayon, kahit anong gusto nating malaman, i-google lang po natin yun. O tunghayan lamang ang Facebook, nandoon na po lahat yun. Walang ganun nung panahon nitong mga kakaibang kumpanya na ating hinahangaan. And they always manage to react in timely fashion to the conditions of society around them. Ito din po, paano sila naging cohesive with a strong sense of identity. And as we look at these characteristics, it would be well for us to reflect how, in our diversity as members of PIMAC, we can still forge a cohesive identity and how we can be united. There is nothing wrong with having differences in opinion. Diversity makes for enrichment of culture. Diversity makes an organization stronger. Huwag po tayong mabahala kung hindi po tayo nagkakasundo sa lahat ng bagay. Okay lang po yun, for as long as we genuinely respect each other. Unilever, a highly diversified company, likens itself to a fleet of ships. Each ship independent, yet the whole fleet is stronger than the sum of its parts. There was also a strong sense of community. Managers advanced from within, considered themselves stewards of the long-standing enterprise. Noon pong nag-umpisa pa lang po ako sa PIMAC, naranasan ko yung maging membro ng committee, chairman ng committee, bago naging direktor. Diyan po ninyo mararanasan ang pinakamasarap na karanasan sa PIMAC. Yung makilala ang inyong mga kapwa, HR at people managers at makasama sila sa trabaho ng association. Yung trabahong walang bayad, yung trabahong voluntaryo, yung trabaho na mula sa puso at wala pong halagayan kundi yung dedikasyon at commitment na pinapakita natin. Again, the notion of being tolerant. While decentralization is a 20th century term in management, it was an idea practiced, as we are told, by 17th, 18th, and 19th century managers. Again, what is important here is tolerance of activities on the margin. Mahalaga din po na maging mapagbigay tayo doon sa mga naiiba sa atin. Dahil karamihan naman sa kanila ay creative, they may have different ideas. It is those seemingly out-of-the-box ideas that make an organization progressive and prosperous. Ito na po, tinalakay ko na kanina, isa sa mga ugali na ipinunla ng mga past presidents natin sa PIMAC ay yung pagiging masinop sa pananalapi, matipid, at mabait sa paggamit ng pondo. So, to summarize, sensitivity to environment, cohesion and identity, tolerance and conservative financing, define the living company as it defines the living organization, if that is what we would like PMAP to be. Marami pong batayan ng tagumpay sa ating daigdig. Financial analysts would look at ROI. Economists look at the provision of products and services that make human life more comfortable. Those in marketing would focus on customer orientation. The company exists to serve customers. And politicians focus on providing for the public good. Pero po, ito ang malaga. From the point of view of the organization itself, all of those purposes in the previous slide are only secondary. Like all organisms, the living company exists primarily for its own survival and improvement. Take note, to fulfill its potential and to become as great as it can be. So yan po ang sinasabing pinakamahalagang layunin ng isang organisasyon katulad ng PMAP natin. Paano ba natin matutupad yung pinakadakilang potensyal ng bawat isa sa atin? At paano po magiging tunay na dakila o great ang ating samahan? Let's reflect on that for a few seconds. It is our aspiration not only to be bigger in terms of membership, to be richer in terms of assets, but each to his own, and as an association, to be able to say that we have fulfilled our fullest potential and that we have endeavored and become a great association. Gusto po ba natin yun? Siguro naman, oo, ang sagot ninyo doon. Dalawa po kasing posibilidad ang pwede nating yakapin. The first possibility is to become like the economic company that produces maximum results with minimum resources, where people are regarded as assets. Hindi po ba? Isa sa mga favorite expression natin, people are our greatest assets. Pero sa totoo lang, sa pananaw ng mga accountant at mga CFO, yan assets na yan ay extension lang naman ng capital assets. And sa totoo lang, sa maraming pagkakataon, investment in human assets is held to a minimum in order to produce the greatest possible return in the shortest amount of time. So the concept of an economic company, as that of an economic association, is that of a corporate machine, not a work community. Its sole purpose is production of wealth. Kaya ko po ito binabahagi, much of our thinking in PMAP is heavily influenced by our paradigm of the companies that we serve. If we don't acknowledge it, then we become blind to the realities that we live with every day. So the economic company is likened to a puddle of rainwater, a collection of raindrops in a cavity or hollow. Kapag umaraw na daw, madali itong matuyo. Wala nang tubig kasi napakababaw. Sa kabilang bahagi, we can be a river company or a river organization. Yung buhay pong river, hindi katulad ng sikat na ilog na alam natin lahat. The river is a self-perpetuating community with component water drops that enter and leave with its own built-in guarantees for the continuity and motion of water. A company or as an association like ours, by initiating rules for continuity and motion of its people, can emulate the longevity and power of the river. In a river company, ROI remains important. Hindi po natin tinatawaran yung kahalagahan ng prudent financial management. Optimization of capital complements optimization of people. The company itself is primarily a community. Its purposes are longevity and the development of the full potentials of its people. Okay, ito na po yung ating mga functions sa HR. Profitability is simply a means to an end. To produce both profits and longevity, care must be taken with the processes for building community. Ano po ba ang mahalaga doon? Ito po, establishing common values, recruiting people, developing their capabilities, assessing their potential, living up to a human contract, managing relationships with customers and suppliers, and establishing policies for exiting the company gracefully. Okay, cambio na po tayo doon sa pangalawang konsepto. Not so long ago, our association conducted a survey among our member companies on what are the most important HR imperatives. And this was the result of the survey. According to our companies, our member firms, the most important imperatives are alignment, availability, adaptability, controls, consistency, and compliance. Kapag tinunghayan po natin lahat ng yan, mapagtatanto natin at mauunawaan natin na ang pinakamahalaga ay yung konsepto ng motivation. Motivation is at the heart of all of these concepts. Kaya po ito sinasabi, doon po sa pupuntahan natin, ito, intrinsic motivation. Meron po tayong maririnig na kukontra sa idea na yan. At ito ang sasabihin nila. Hindi daw dapat ipasok yung religion sa organizations. So para mo na rin sinabi, hindi natin pwede pag-usapan si Pope Francis. We must be rational and objective, not emotional and touchy-feely. We must lead and manage for results. Pero ito po, ang konsepto talaga ng intrinsic motivation. It is intrinsic motivation, not external incentives, that truly inspires and moves people to work for their organization's goals. Ito po ang personal kong paniwala pagkatapos ng maraming taon sa ating profesyon. We need to tap into the wellsprings of intrinsic motivation. At nasaan po yun? Yung intrinsic motivation consists of every person's inner wisdom. And we summarize this in the word spirit. Ano po ba ang concept ng spirit-driven? Ito po yung mga konsepto dito. People's drive to achieve and excel is powered by a transcendent cause that is greater than themselves. Parang nakita ko doon sa tema ni President Obed, di ba? Perform beyond the ordinary. Paano ka makakapag-perform beyond the ordinary? Dapat yung tinitignan mo ay mas malaki kaysa sa kasalukuyang realidad. It must be something that is greater than what or who you are. Ito po ang kahulugan ng transcendent cause. Meron po ba tayong pinaniniwalaan na transcendent cause na hindi nalilimita doon sa pansariling kapakanan lang natin? Secondly, they are moved by a sense of mission and purpose. What they do for their companies becomes a channel for actualizing their values. Hence, there is alignment between organizational and individual goals. Yan lang naman talaga ang perpetual challenge sa HR. Paano magiging tugma yung gustong mangyari ng kumpanya natin at yung personal na pangarap o aspirasyon ng bawat individual. Kapag nagtugma yun, when we achieve convergence, such convergence produces immense energy that emanates from deep within. Hindi po ba? Mararamdaman natin yan. Napakasigla, napakalakas ng determinasyon ng taong naniniwala doon sa kanyang ginagawa. Kaysa doon sa taong napipilitan lamang. Kaysa doon sa taong plastic na nagmamaang-maangan lamang. Na lahat ng kanyang kilos is for performance evaluation purposes only. Parang yung kanta dati ng paborito namin ni Mr. Jundig daw, si Mr. Eddie Perigdina. Laughing on the outside, crying on the inside. Paborito din yun ni Commissioner Bert Kimpo. At ng aming kaibigan si Ben Burgos. The Spirit-led organization is rooted on the faith of its founders, owners, and leaders. Nung pinag-aralan ko po ito in connection with my graduate studies, I was amazed at the reality that while they may not acknowledge it, our organizations are really very much spirit-led or spirit-driven. Saan naman kayo nakakita ng negosyo na hindi man lamang nag-blessing ng kanilang building? O sa tuwing mag-anibersaryo ay meron pang pamisa. O tuwing First Friday may misa. Naghahanap ng misa ang mga tao. Kaya po, diyan sa mga negosyo na yan, that organization is one where the business itself is the principal instrument for carrying out a mission to provide the highest quality of affordable and beneficial products and services in a manner that expresses respect, caring, and concern for the people and the community that it serves. Ang reflection ko po dito ay tungkol sa CSR. Marami kasing kumpanya natin nagsi-CSR. Pero yung CSR nila, extracurricular activities. Ang naalala ko, merong isang shipping company nag-CSR na medical mission sa isang isla. Hindi malayo doon sa isla nun, lumubog yung isang barko nila. 700 tao ang namatay. Paano namang natawag na CSR yun? Hindi ba ang pinaka-responsibilidad nila ay yung